Hey guys, welcome. Here we are with video number 3 in our poaching course this week, and today we're going to be looking at planned poaching. And anytime we're planning out a poach means we're in communication with our partner. You know, you see the pros giving signals all the time to one another, and that's something that is really, really key for you guys when you're trying to map out these poaches if they're going to be effective. So as we go on court today, we're going to learn about verbal communication and these signals that are very common at the high levels of the game. All right, so without further ado, let's pop on court and take a look. All right, guys, so here we are out on the court, and like I said before, when talking about planned poaching, the main idea here is really the signaling or communication between my partner and I, the server back here, okay? When it comes to communication, it seems like something that probably doesn't need to be coached, but when walking around the club level, this is something that definitely faults a lot of club level players. So as Mark and I are in between points and the idea is to poach, I would probably meet him halfway, keep my back to the opponent, and just a quick discussion here. All right, Mark, I'm going to poach on this one, try to serve down the tee, okay? And then we come back out. That's a quick chat that doesn't happen enough at the club level, okay? So have those little conversations, especially if we're trying to pre-plan a play like this, as significant as a poach is going to be. The other option we have is the signaling. And while some of you, I think, probably see some pros signal, you've maybe heard about signaling, you guys want to know that the open hand is the sign that Mark understands that I'm going to poach, and the closed hand is the sign that I'm going to stay. So what I'll do a lot of times, and I might, over communicate with Mark, but this is something that probably is really helpful for you guys. Have the quick chat on what you're going to do, and then to just reinforce it as you come back up, pop that hand behind your back, and remind him of the discussion you have. In this case, because I'm poaching, I'd open that hand up, okay? Now, Mark's job after this pre-planned poach is not to tip the returner off too early, okay? So the job here is that in my poach position, I'm going to have a slight delay right after the ball lands on the returner side and then get going. Okay, Mark's job is to have a slight delay on his half of the court before moving over to my side. He obviously needs to come across and cover me. But what happens a lot is the server, knowing they need to cover that side and feeling possibly a little frantic about it or a little defensive about it, will serve and then just go. The returner sees that. It kind of tips them off to the fact that I'm poaching. We do not want that, okay? So have that slight delay where the ball lands, and then boom, I go, and then Mark comes across and covers, okay? Third point I want to make, this is a little more advanced, but I want to make you guys aware of it. Hopefully a lot of you are capable of this. This is advanced signaling, and this would be if Mark, my partner, has such good command of his serve that I'm not only going to let him know when I'm poaching or staying, I'm going to also tell him where I would like the serve to go. And a lot of times, I think you guys will start to see this as well, it's much easier and much more effective for the poacher to go across the middle if the serve goes down the tee. All right, because if it goes out wide, the net player is usually meant to shade over and cover closer to the alley. So if I called for a poach and Mark ended up serving out wide, it would really tax him to get over to what very possibly could be a down the line return. So with that advanced signaling, I'll either flash the open hand or closed hand. In this case, because we're discussing the poach, I'm going to flash the open hand to let him know I'm poaching, and then I'm going to give him a direction with one of my fingers. Usually my thumb means that I want him to serve down the tee. My pinky means that I want him to serve out wide. So kind of that classic poach advanced signal would be open hand and then thumb. Okay, now If you guys don't have a partner that has great command of their serve, don't put that pressure on them to tell them where to serve. Let them just go after it. Try to pre-plan the poach. But a lot of times, if that's the case, that the server doesn't have great command of the serve, what the poacher should do is just kind of wait for that opportunity to see the down the tee. And that to me is a little conversation. I'd come back to Mark and I'd say, hey Mark, I want to pre-plan a poach. If I see your serve go down the tee, I'm going to go. And if I see your serve go out wide, I'm going to stay. That way there's no pressure on him that I'm telling him where to serve, but he also knows now that if he does serve down the tee, I'm going and he needs to cover, okay? So those are those main points of pre-planned poaching, you guys. You're looking, for great communication, whether it's signaling or having that quick chat with your partner, possibly both. I highly recommend that. Making sure that the delay by the server is timed very well with the delay by the poacher so that we're covering similar times. And then go out and try that advanced signaling where you guys see if you can kind of bump your level of play up by trying to direct the serve in order to help the poacher, okay? So there you have it, guys. That video on planned poaching, I think, is an absolute must for you, not to just see this time, but go back, kind of check in on it every once in a while. Give yourself that reminder that even if your level of play isn't super high yet, that it's never too early, to have this formula of communication between you and your partner to make sure that poaching is effective in your doubles matches. All right, so look for video number 4 coming tomorrow. That's where we tackle the idea of unplanned poaching. But until then, I hope this was super enjoyable, and we'll see you soon.